Good boy, son.
Offense in a moment, but I have to start with your defense. 3 massive interceptions in key moments, 3 sacks, a couple of fumble recoveries. How imperative was that unit in this win today?
Yeah, first I just want to send prayers to Grant. That was a tough situation right there. Just hoping that he's okay. Praying for his recovery and that he can get back on the field. But
I'm beginning to wonder who's really the blind one around here.
Before I start this video, I really want to preface this that I really hope that Grant Dubose is okay, and that he has a well and speedy recovery after what happened today between the game against the Texans and the Dolphins. That's something that nobody should really go through, and that was just a freak accident. Not very often do you see someone just get everything taken off of them so they can get strapped on a stretcher. Thankfully, they did say that he is going to be kept overnight in the Houston hospital for observation, and that his head and neck is, is able to move around and stuff. But they're going to keep him overnight in Houston to look after him. But hope he has a speedy recovery and that he's able to get back in the football field soon, because this was his first game back after a shoulder injury, and that's not something you really want to come back to. But into the main topic of today's video, Texans won. Yes, it's my first time in a while talking about sports and actually being serious about it. Texans won another ugly game, but it was a game where the Texans kept their mistakes to a minimum. They were able to force Dolphins to make a ton of mistakes, and that ended up being the key to victory. And that was good. We definitely needed a boost after 2 weeks ago in the Jaguars game where we felt like the biggest embarrassment in the league. But then that hit happened. Only unlike the Al-Shaair hit on Trevor Lawrence, which was clearly dirty and was rightly punished, this one from Kalen Bullock to Ben Dubose, that was clearly a freak accident. And I don't see how you can look at that and think that it wasn't a freak accident. Even the announcers, they weren't entirely sure, exactly what was the circumstance, because they were discussing it for a little bit, but they had to keep cutting back because he was on the field for so long, so we didn't get their full thoughts. But they're just like, man, it's just really ugly situation. That's not something you want to see happen, but that's what happened. That's unfortunately how things went in that situation. And it was a bad pass by Tua, but I'm not necessarily blaming him because, other times that's a pass where it's like, oh, the receiver's able to get come down with it, and there's more space in between. There's more time to react, but still, the Kalen was already coming in. You can see in the footage that he stopped and was trying to make sure that he was going to be able to be in a position to tackle him. But when Kalen caught the ball, well, not when Kalen, when Grant caught the ball, he was trying to maintain possession. That's why he put his head down, and that's why they both unfortunately made contact. And that's what I'm seeing here when I watched it happen live, when I saw the replays, when I recorded the replay so that way I could have it in the background of this video for a few seconds just to give you some context. That's what it looked like to me. That looked like a clear and total accident, freak deal. No one ever wants to see that happen. And unlike Al-Shaair, when he was being a fucking idiot after the fact and was continuing to cause fights and run his mouth, Kalen Bullock was not running his mouth. He was not acting a fool. He was on the sidelines, kneeling with everybody else, hoping for that man to get better and to hope everything was fine, because he was clearly in a bad way. But apparently, if you're JaguarGator9, you think this is indicative of Texans being dirty players in general on defense. That look, if you want to have something to say about Al-Shaair, that is 100% fair game. When he hit Trevor, that was a dirty hit. Granted, there's circumstances in there where I'm thinking it's not like where the hit itself, like the action he was doing was not necessarily bad, but the way it unfolded made it look a lot worse than it could have been. It was still a dirty play, and the way he acted after the fact definitely warranted a 3-game suspension. What happened with Bullock here, though, this is a guy who's a rookie. He's still learning. More likely than not, he was trying to be cautious in that situation, which is, like I said, what it looked like to me. And it was a freak accident. But JaguarGator9 thinks that this is a dirty play. Okay. So, why do you think that, Jaguar? Well, considering he never said anything after that tweet, unlike when he did it against Aziz Al-Shaair with Trevor Lawrence, he didn't really have much to say about it on Twitter, at least when I was looking at it. But he seems to think that this is indicative of the Texas culture being dirty. Where's your fucking evidence for that, sir? Yeah, so many evidence examples for Al-Shaair. Granted, they were spanned out over years for him. But for this year, you're not really coming up with other examples other than Al-Shaair, and then you're going to use this example that was clearly a freak accident on Kalen Bullock's part to make this indicative that the Texans culture is dirty as hell. Come on. That is ridiculous. Are you blind? Are you absolutely uh, wrapped by division rivalry that you're not going to look at this play objectively and go, holy shit, this is a freak accident? I'm not going to be, trying to point fingers at who would be in the wrong here because this was clearly a freak deal. You just want to be a jackass about it? And people were rightfully calling him out on Twitter, thankfully, but they were mainly Texans fans. And after what happened 2 weeks ago with Trevor, there's certainly going to be a lot of people who are online not willing to give Bullock the benefit of the doubt here. But like I said, this is a rookie. This wasn't a veteran who did it. This is a rookie, in his first season, having a really good season so far. First real bad thing that's really happened to him, other than maybe an injury or two they had like during the season. But I don't remember exactly what that was because I've been in and out of trying to watch the Texans this year. But I watched this game in full, and I've watched Caleb Bullock a good bit this year on and off. Uh, I've seen nothing that really indicates him to being a dirty player. I've not seen any examples that would put into my brain, oh, this is dirty, or oh, this is indicative of D'Amico Ryans running a culture that runs on dirty plays. That's not what's happening here. Again, this was just a freak deal. What happened with Trevor a couple weeks ago? Absolute an embarrassment on the team. Yes, you had other people, defending Al-Shaair in the heat of the moment, like Tom Brady and Richard Sherman. And while I agree with some of their takes, it's once again, it's not the main contention is the hit. My main contention is, and always will be, the way he acted afterwards. He immediately tried to start a fight. Granted, he was getting jumped on by the other Jaguars players to start, but even after like 5 minutes of Trevor still being on the ground being attended to, he was trying to throw fist. He was running his fucking mouth. He was not being calm. And then when he was getting ejected, as he rightfully should have, he was running his mouth at fans and not keeping his fucking head down. They had to have several players push him away to tell him, hey, what are you doing? Get off the field. Stay away. They did not need to do this here with Kalen because Kalen was not trying to do something maliciously and he was not trying to be a jackass. So to try to use Aziz to paint the entire Texans defense as, oh, they're a bunch of dirty players, fuck them, is honestly pathetic. That's a really pathetic way to paint your opposition. Right? It's like, I'm not like this. I want to treat teams fairly when it comes to this. Like when I see something happen on the field and it goes against us and I know it's going against us, I'm like, okay, that's not the ref's fault. That's us being stupid. Especially when it comes to things like dirty plays being called wrongly or something like that, or a turnover that didn't go the right way. Things like that. I want to call things as I'm seeing it, and I want to call things fairly. If you're going to call things fairly and you're going to call things objectively, you can't just go out and call the other team dirty because of a freak accident. And like I said, yes, this was a couple weeks after the Jaguars, which is his favorite team, played against the Texans and their quarterback got hurt. Once again, I am not saying that Aziz Al-Shaair was, was the victim here. Like, he obviously got punished for doing something that was obviously bad. I am actually on the opposite side of a lot of Texans people who were defending him, saying he shouldn't have been suspended at all. I was like, no. Dude needed to be suspended so he learned his fucking lesson and not run his goddamn mouth. But right here, once again, it was an honest accident. It was an honest accident. Thank God it didn't go further than it could have, because it could have been like a situation where the guy got paralyzed. It was just, but like I said, it was just a freak deal. This was not anything that entitled maliciousness. But yet, JaguarGator9 wants to be a douchebag about it. Why do you want to stir up shit like that when a man's on the ground and we don't know what the hell happened to him. Well, or at least we don't know the extent of his injury. I mean, we know what happened to him, but we don't know the extent of his injury. Why would you do that? Why would you want to stir shit up like that when it's an obvious situation where it was just freak accident? All right, that just doesn't scream objective. And it honestly doesn't scream moral to me. Okay, unless it's something that's clear cut in the ground where you can say that, then you could go fair game. But that was 100% not a clear cut fair game thing. That was just a freak incident of occurrences. Tua throw a kind of crappy ball, but Kalen was standing his ground, but Ben had to put his head down to catch the ball and make sure he had possession of it, or at least try to get possession of it when he was catching it. And Kalen already had his head pointed downward before Grant got the ball. But you can see he already had his head pointed down. He didn't try to lower it even further to meet with the head. His head was already down. It's just Grant had to lower his because he was trying to make sure he had possession, and they collided. The force of momentum, it was incidental contact. That shit happens. That shit is gonna happen in football. It happens all the time. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Unless you're a JaguarGator9, then you're just gonna be a fucking dickhead about it. All I know is, like, people need to freaking calm down with this stuff. Like, especially when it comes to the prospect of player injuries. It's like, we need to keep a calmer head. We need to have cooler heads prevail. We need to actually have better discussions about this, so that way we know actually how to discuss things. We actually know how to consume what we are seeing and actually take objectivity into account. Because just going by pure emotion onto a bad hit is not going to help anyone. And it's not going to help Grant. It's not going to help the refs call the plays correctly. It's not going to help anyone. It's not going to help anyone. So honestly, I just made this video because I wanted to rant about this, because I just felt like that was just really stupid. It was really stupid for anyone to say that a rookie like that was trying to intentionally be dirty when it was obviously a freak accident. Sorry if I sound like a broken record, but that's just how I feel. So, JaguarGator9, I doubt you're going to watch this, but if you do watch this, take an inner look at yourself before you start running your goddamn mouth. Because honestly, that shit just makes me take you less seriously as a person and as a commentator. Because that was obviously not a dirty hit. Anyone with two eyes could see that. And even the announcers were freaking out about it being a dirty hit. They were just concerned for the man that was on the ground because of a freak accident, as they should have. So, take a deeper look there, and then come back and maybe go, okay, that was obviously not a dirty hit. I fucking apologize to Kalen Bullock, and I hope Grant Dubose is able to uh, get better soon. Because that's not anything that he ever freaking indicated in that tweet or on his freaking profile after the fact. So do that, I'd be able to respect you a little bit more, but not with that. Not with that one stupid tweet. But yeah, so the overall good game for the Texans. It wasn't a great game offensively, but that defense sure showed up. It was a fun game to watch, but that injury certainly put a damper on it. So we'll just have to see what happens for the rest of the year. We've claimed the division since the Colts lost, so we've won the AFC South for the second straight year. That's pretty cool. But like I said, we're just going to have to see what happens the rest of the year, because the end of the year stretch is going to be rough. But okay, thank you for listening to me rant. Hopefully I won't freaking lose my mind trying to make this, because yeah, it was just a crazy deal, and I just needed to get that rant off my chest. Okay, y'all have a good one.